You know that feeling you're chasing, that AdSense approval email? It's like the holy grail for creators. But let's be real, the rejection email? That's what most people get. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all the myths and rumors. I'm going to show you exactly how to get approved. And we're using hard data and insights straight from Google's own playbook.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Why is this so ridiculously hard? Well, take a look at this number. This comes straight from Google's own compliance guide. A mind-blowing 80% of AdSense applications get flat-out rejected. Yeah, you heard that right. That means for every 10 people who apply, only 2 get that welcome email. The odds are not great, but that's exactly what we're here to fix.
So, the million-dollar question, right? How do you break through and join that elite 20%? What's the secret? Is there some magic formula that separates the winners from everyone else stuck with that super frustrating, vague rejection email? We've all seen it. Well, here's the good news. It's not about memorizing some giant 100-page rulebook. It really just boils down to mastering 3 core pillars. Seriously, if you can nail these 3 things, you're already way ahead of the game. All right, let's get into it. Pillar number 1. This is the absolute bedrock of everything: quality content. And I mean it. If you zone out for the rest of this, just remember this one thing. Your content isn't just king. It's the king, the queen, the entire royal court. It is everything.
But what does quality even mean to Google, right? It's kind of a vague word. It's not just about good spelling and grammar, though that helps. It's about being 100% original, genuinely useful, and, you're going to hear this a lot, proving something they call EEAT. That stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And listen, this isn't just some corporate buzzword. This is literally the checklist that Google's human reviewers use when they look at your site. They're asking, does this person know what they're talking about? Can I trust this website? Is this real experience? That's the bar.
Okay, so let's put some real numbers to this theory. We looked at a test of 15 different sites applying for AdSense, and the results, well, they were crystal clear. There are some definite minimums you have to hit. First off, look at the number of articles. Sites with less than 15 posts? They failed 90% of the time. That's almost a guaranteed rejection. And article length? That thin content thing is one of the top reasons for rejection. If your posts are mostly under 1,000 words, that's a huge red flag for Google. And finally, originality. It has to be 100% unique. Even just spinning or heavily paraphrasing content can get you flagged and rejected.
Okay, so let's say your content is amazing. It's long, it's original, it's helpful. You're still not done. Now you have to prove you're a real, legitimate business. And that brings us to pillar 2, building trust. See, it's not enough to just have great writing. You have to send all the right signals to Google's human reviewers that you're a serious professional publisher that they can actually do business with.
And honestly, a huge part of building that trust comes down to having these 3 essential pages on your site. And when I say essential, I mean they are absolutely non-negotiable. You need an about page, you need a contact page, and you need a privacy policy page. And let me be super clear about this. In every test we saw, if a site was missing just one of these pages, it was an automatic rejection. Every single time. It's pretty much the fastest way to signal to Google that you're an amateur.
Now, that privacy policy, let's talk about that for a second, because this is where so many people mess up. You can't just copy and paste a generic template you found online and call it a day. Your policy has to include a specific clause that discloses your use of Google's advertising services and cookies. It's like one sentence, but I promise you it is a make-or-break detail.
Okay, so you've got amazing content. You've got your trust pages all set up. We're almost there. We've just got one more hurdle, pillar 3, which is all about technical polish. Because let's face it, you could have Nobel Prize-winning articles, but if your website is a slow, clunky, broken mess, you're still going to get rejected.
So think of this as your final technical pre-flight check before you hit that apply button. Number 1, is your site secure? Does it have that little lock icon, the HTTPS? In this day and age, it's non-negotiable. If you don't have it, don't even bother applying yet. Next, grab your phone, pull up your site. Does it look great and work perfectly? Because I guarantee you that's one of the first things a reviewer is going to do. And finally, is it fast? Is the navigation clear and easy to understand? Any broken links? Anything that makes it hard for a user or a Google bot to find what they're looking for is a major problem.
Okay, so we've covered the 3 pillars of what you absolutely should do. Now let's flip it around and talk about what not to do. These are the instant deal breakers, the surefire ways to land yourself right in that 80% rejection pile.
First and foremost, copyright. I see this all the time. If you are just grabbing images from a Google image search and slapping them on your blog, you're done. That's an instant rejection.
You have to use images you took yourself or get them from legit royalty-free stock photo sites. Google has absolutely zero tolerance for copyright violations.
Next up is prohibited content. And on this topic, Google's policies are completely black and white. There is no gray area. If your site has even one article that touches on things like adult themes, gambling, drugs, weapons, your entire site is getting rejected. They don't just review the page you submit, they look at the whole thing. One bad apple really does spoil the bunch here.
All right, now this one is a little more subtle, but it's just as serious. A deceptive layout. What this means is you absolutely cannot design your site in a way that tricks people into clicking on ads. So that means keeping ads far away from your menu buttons, next page links, or anything that someone might click on by accident. Google is paying for real, genuine interest, not accidental clicks.
You know, when you take a step back and look at all this, it really just boils down to two totally different mindsets. On one side, you've got the person who's always looking for a shortcut, a hack, a way to game the system. And on the other, you have the person who's genuinely focused on building a fantastic, helpful resource for other human beings. And trust me, after all these years, Google has gotten very good at spotting the difference.
And really, that leads us to the single most important lesson in all of this. If you forget everything else, remember this quote: focus on your visitors. The secret to getting AdSense approval isn't to think about AdSense at all. It's to stop obsessing over ads and start obsessing over your users. Build a site that people actually love to visit. Create a great experience. When you do that, the approval, it just follows.
So, I want to leave you with one final question. A question that I think reframes this whole challenge. Are you building a site for ads, or are you building a resource that is so good, so valuable, that it truly deserves to earn money from them? That change in mindset, that's how you get into the 20%.